Are your kids interested in money? Are they starting to ask you questions about stocks? I've had more emails, texts, messengers, all kinds of things, DMs about my kids are asking me about stocks for the first time. Teenagers and college-age kids that never cared about stocks are now interested because of GameStop and AMC and these companies that right now are relevant, but not companies that maybe you care about. The reality is, it's really cool because it reminded me of a video I did a while ago about talking to kids about money. And there's really two trains of thought. The old school world where parents just don't talk about money. They don't talk about their bills. They don't talk about how much they make. They kind of keep it into themselves. And I think in a lot of blue collar families growing up, what you have is it's not really enough. And when it's not enough, you really don't want to share that with your kids because it's burdensome. So the intention for that old school mentality came from the World War II generation where what I'm doing is none of your business, I'm taking care of you. And then the baby boomers took it a step further where even when they did have struggles, they just faked it and pretended it didn't happen, and eventually it worked out. And then you had Gen X, which took a different approach, and millennials, and it's all going to be different cycles for different generations. But here's the cool thing. New school, this is something I found to be very successful. Talk to them about money. Show them your successes. Show them a stock you bought that you made money in. Show them something that you invested in and you've seen success. Show them what it looks like to start early. Or show them what failure feels like when you feel like you should have started earlier and you didn't, but you want them to know why they should start now. Answer questions that they have about stocks. Buy them a book about investing. Show them a YouTube video that you found that you think could help them. Have them talk to their financial advisor. These are all things that have changed in my lifetime. When I started investing, they didn't have all these sites that did this free trading and, fractional shares and all this stuff where kids could really get engaged and involved. Both of my boys have asked me about investing in the last year more than they've ever asked me before. And they're picking up on why it matters and what it can do for them. And they're equating it to their lives. Having the conversations about your mortgages, debt, borrowing from the bank, letting them know that you owe all this money that sounds astronomical to them and probably you. But these are topics that help your kids grow up and be financially stable. It saves them from grabbing the free t-shirt at college to take out the credit card and run it up. It saves them from working from behind all the time. It saves them from being pained at having to pay back so much debt. It helps them make decisions about their career. Like, hey, are they going to go to college and pay $150,000 for an education that's only going to pay them $30,000 a year for the rest of their lives? It's pretty simple math, right? I mean, I don't know the point in going to college, dropping 200 grand, and then only being able to earn 35,000 in your major for the rest of your career. There's nothing wrong with earning $35,000 a year, but there is if you spent 200,000 to get to it. Like, these are the types of things that you should have conversations with your kids because they're simple. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that investing a certain amount of money into an education or into investments is supposed to yield dividends. It's supposed to pay you something in return. An investment is something I make to actually make more later. To have a return either in the short term or the long term. And the long-term ones are the ones that make the most sense, that pay the biggest dividends. Just like a relationship. The more I invest in you, the more you'll give back to us and me. And the ability for us to grow in that relationship expands. The longer term, I love listening to the 60-year-olds that have been married for 20, 30 years. The 80-year-olds that have been married for 60 years. These stories are long-term stories with the most dividends, the most life dividends. Success for our children starts with talking to them about the very things that you're probably scared about, the things that you don't like talking about at the table. Talking to them about a job that you don't like is fine. Having them understand how they cannot repeat the same mistakes we made. I think these are all the things that not fearing failure, even as a parent, and really accentuating the money decisions you've made, good, bad, and ugly, are great for our children to help learn from us. That's part of what we do. We kind of, with everything else, we share it. But with money, we kind of hide it a lot of times. And I've tried not to do that. Sometimes I'm a little open, and I forget that not everybody talks about this every day. So I'm way more comfortable at this topic than most of you are, but I encourage you to talk about it. What's something that you want to teach your kids about money? What's the number one lesson you wish you learned when you were growing up as a kid till now? What's something you wish someone would have taught you earlier in your life? How can we take this thread and build it up and share it with lots of people, and they can all look at what you shared as one simple lesson that they learned from your story? I have a bunch of them. I'll share a couple below as well. Have a great day. I'm Scott Danner.